Yo, what is up guys? Today we're going to be test riding an MT-07. Shout out to Dreamless YT for letting me take this thing out for a spin. Oh my god, yeah, these handlebars. This is wild. Oh, that sound. Oh my gosh, this feels so weird. This is so weird. My arms, they're so outstretched. What? This riding position is so drastically different to anything I've ridden. It's comical. I'm actually laughing at how funny this feels. So, Yamaha MT-07. I never actually considered one of these in terms of something I wanted to purchase. And that's because by the time I got to this price point of bike, I was well into super sport / fully fed motorcycles, and to be honest, naked bikes weren't really on the radar for me. So I've got a little bit of a framework for these first impression videos, and the first thing is power. It has some pep to it, but I don't think it's quite as quick as the CBR. Oh, you can get in real trouble with this. As many of you would know by now, I do not like parallel twin engines, but this engine gets a massive concession because despite being a parallel twin, it has a cross-plane crank on it, which makes it sound much more like a V-twin and gives it that big bang kind of feel, which you don't get when you're riding a 180 twin such as the Ninja 400. I feel like I'm cranking my hog every time I rotate my wrist. It just emits this bellow, this very angry, vicious bellow. The CBR 650R sounds a lot more refined, calculated, and surgical, whereas this sounds like this angry, unchained beast that'll just go into a bloodlust when it sees the nearest human. It's got that true rider feel to it. You feel like you're kind of taming a beast, whereas riding my naked GSF and the Trident 660, they were very refined compared to this, and that was probably due to the 3-cylinder and 4-cylinder engines that those bikes had. So yeah, down low this thing has more torque than the 650R, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss the power up top, because the 4-cylinder is so smooth on the 650R and it feels like you can keep winding it out. If I go into a lower gear and speed up, it's got power, but it tapers off towards the top compared to the 650R. And this is more a handling thing, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as stable. And that could be for a multitude of reasons, but I'm hazarding a guess. The biggest one is that this is just a naked bike. And when you exceed that 100k an hour mark, you start to get a little bit jittery, a little wobbly. That's what I found just then. It doesn't inspire confidence. Whereas the CBR 650R at those speeds feels so planted. Now, given that it is a twin, the engine braking is pretty intense. The 650R, you let go of the throttle and it almost feels like it's coasting because of that smooth battery 4-cylinder engine. Whereas this, you let go of it and you just hear it drone. It sounds like those brakes those big trucks have. I love it. It's so gnarly. It's so mad. What an angry bike. I thought the CBR was angry, but this is just in rage 100% of the time. So this engine is exciting. The way it delivers power, I really like it. I'm not gonna lie, I think I prefer the 650R because the power is really manageable down low, but when you really want to get on it, you can. Whereas with this bike, the second you twist your wrist, the power just hits you. It just slaps you across the face, like it doesn't really wait for you. And then when you get up into the higher RPMs, it does run out of puff a little bit. Okay, let's talk about handling. It's so easy to tip in. It's a lightweight bike. It's a lot lighter than the 650R, and it's just much more flickable and maneuverable than the 650R ever will be. And I do believe these have actually been replaced and are even higher than the stock handlebars. It's just better for the streets. You can't deny that. The CBR 650R's clip-ons, which have also been lowered on my particular bike, They afford you a really strong sense of stability, and you feel very planted at higher speeds. There's no wobbling, but it's just nowhere near as good as a set of handlebars for public riding. If you spend a lot of time on the freeways, where it's kind of that higher speed, straight line riding, those clip-ons are a bit better. So handling wise, out here in the hills, you just have to feed it a tiny input with your arm and it just flicks wherever you want it to go. The CBR does not do that. So it's a trade-off really between high-speed stability and flickability / maneuverability at those lower speeds. Brakes wise, I can tell these particular pads are nearing the end of their life. There's a lot of play in the lever, so I'm guessing the pads will have to be replaced soon, so it's not really fair of me to compare them against the CBRs. I come into a corner, brakes aren't as strong, but I can just tip the bike. Even at these speeds, when you're accelerating, it's nowhere near as stable as the 650R. Oh, baby! Oh man, yeah, that's fun. I'm the kind of guy who actually likes to chill in the lower RPMs, so it is kind of exciting to not have to drop a gear to get into power band. You're just there. Wow, whoa, hey, relax, buddy. It's kind of like you're holding a pit bull or a rottie, particularly large one on a leash, and you're just trying to prevent it from running amok. But it's big, you know, it's dragging you along. You have to fight it a little bit. I do like that. Yeah, it ain't got that stability that the CBR has. So that's what it's like in terms of its handling. Alright, next, ergos. Well, these bars, they're so high and so forward. It's yeah, like I said, it almost feels comical to me. Like, I haven't experienced anything quite like it. And I don't hate it. I do not hate it. It's very comfortable, very maneuverable. You feel like you have a lot of control over the bike when you're moving it about the road. But the issue is, when you get to those higher speeds, you don't feel as planted, you don't feel as stable. And even mid-corner, I'm trying to get my body down and over onto the side of the bike that I'm turning, but it's hard to do that when my arms are so high up and forward. I do enjoy this comfort, and as a commuter it is somewhat important to me, but I don't think I could sacrifice that feeling of being on a crotch rocket for that comfort, you know. I totally understand why people have formed a cult following around this bike. It's a very fun, exciting, versatile and usable type of bike compared to something like the CBR 650R. This has a slightly higher seating position compared to the CBR, I think. My legs, I don't know, it's actually kind of similar. Yeah, shit. Sounds beautiful. What do you think?
Fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah?
A whole different experience.
So I just had a quick chat with Dreamless over there, and he has mentioned that the bars are wider than stock. Yeah, the stability, it's not there. Oh, I wonder if it doesn't have a slipper clutch, because the CBR has a slipper, so you don't actually break the rear loose when you do aggressive rev matching. But it's fun. I mean, I feel like once you understand the limits of those inputs, that it allows you more control over the bike. But it's definitely definitely much better to have a slipper if you're a beginner. So what I gathered from that is I love the MT-07. It is such a cool bike, but it definitely reaffirms the choice I made in purchasing the 650R. It's not as lightweight or flickable, but there's just something about it, whether it be the 4-cylinder engine, the power delivery, the seating position, that appeals to my head more so than a naked bike would. Yeah, boy. God damn. His is so much louder than mine. I gotta take the baffle out. That's my first impression of the MT-07. I actually love it. I think it is an awesome bike. It offers you a completely different experience to what the 650R does. And there you have it, guys. My first impression of a Yamaha MT-07. What an awesome experience that was. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch you on the next one.
You say you've got them guns, but I've never seen you bang. You say you've got them drugs, but I've never seen you smoke.